to the Christian Porter case. Christian Porter is the Morrison government minister who the ABC reported was accused of the rape of a 16-year-old woman more than 30 years ago when he was 17. Now, as I've shown you on this show, the ABC reporting by Louise Milligan, that's the reporter who also falsely smeared Cardinal George Pell as a pedophile, it was recklessly one-sided, left out all the strange things about this woman's complaint that would make you think it was a false memory of a very disturbed woman who eventually killed herself. I won't go through all the things. I've counted at least 10 problems with that statement. But Porter sued the ABC, but yesterday they agreed to a settlement. Now, the ABC said under the settlement that it regretted its readers might have thought that Porter was guilty. And it said it did not contend that this rape claim could be proved true even in a civil case, which is simply the balance of probabilities. And the ABC paid some of Porter's legal costs, but no damages. Now, the ABC lawyer has told the national broadcaster not to say that it won this action, not to crow like that, but ABC staff are crowing that, all right. They're ignoring that. Have a listen to this.
That looks to me like a big ABC win.
And the allegionists, will look it up, Labor frontbencher Mark Dreyfus, insisted that this witch hunt continue even after the ABC itself conceded this was a claim that could not be proved.
We need a truly independent inquiry. That's the only way for Australians to be satisfied that Mr Porter is a fit and proper person to serve in federal cabinet.
Despicable. Dreyfus wants an inquiry that he must know can prove nothing. It would just be a smear and a smear. And this Dreyfus wants to be the next Attorney General of this land, in charge of our rule of law. Spare us. Joining me is defamation expert Justin Quill of lawyers Thomson Greer. Justin, thank you so much for your time. Christian Porter and the ABC yesterday reached a deal and Porter will no longer sue the ABC. Who won?
Well, look, they both probably won because they're going to save a hell of a lot of money on legal fees. So the lawyers might have been the loser there. But who did better out of the two of them? I think that's the real question. And I've got to say, I think it's the ABC. They both said effectively we won, but I think the ABC has a better claim to that. In summary, and I've said this before, people start defamation claims because they want damages or an apology, or they want something that's online removed. Damages, apology, or removal of something online. They're the reasons people start. Sometimes they want all three, sometimes they want one or two of those three things. Christian Porter started this case, he got none of those things, and he withdrew the case. So that to me sounds like he didn't win, and that probably therefore means the ABC got the better of it.
Except I'd probably go back. He was under huge attack. He had to do something as a circuit breaker to stop the attacks on him. He did. He said he'd sue. Everyone calmed down. He could not win, and not because no one can prove this stuff anyway. And it was just a reporting of an allegation. So I don't know. In the longer term, maybe it's even. But that's only my. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, there's a difference. When you ask that question, who won, I took it to mean who won in this legal action. If you're looking,
that it was the question.
Yeah, if you're looking more broadly, and I'll leave this to political people like yourself, Andrew, far better versed than I am. But it might be said that it served its purpose perfectly for Christian Porter. It seems, didn't cost him any money because it seems his costs were paid by the ABC, and he's avoided the chorus of people demanding an investigation. Now, at the time he said, look, this case will be the investigation. It probably didn't turn out quite that way, despite what he would try and suggest outside court. So, look, maybe in the bigger play, and if you take in the politics of it, it was a win for him. But if you look at the case itself, I don't think you could say that.
No, I tend to agree there, Justin. Why do you think this settlement might have been made?
Well, look, I don't think it's a coincidence that his QC, Sue Chrysanthu, who is a very well-regarded, she's a tough QC or SC. She's a real street fighter. And she was going to make life difficult for the ABC and for Louise Milligan, no question about that. Now, she was booted off the case last week by the federal court. And the fact that he couldn't have his main weapon in Sue Chrysanthe probably played into his mind. I think that's part of it. Part of it might have been also that he was mindful that maybe he thought, look, this has served its purpose. I've avoided this investigation that everyone was, or an inquiry that everyone was demanding. Maybe that'll come later, who knows. And I guess the third thing that might have been playing on his mind would have been a very, very uncomfortable trial for him. This would bring up and drag up a whole stack of information and evidence that would have been uncomfortable. And I'm not suggesting necessarily that he'd be found to have done these things. Still uncomfortable stuff. On
exactly that point, Justin, on exactly that point, there is now a fight over whether 27 pages blacked out of the ABC defence document, that's where it tries to explain why it's right to smear Porter, brings up any old stuff that it might care to do, whether it will now ever be made public. Now, Porter's team thinks that this deal means that it should. That's it. Tear it all up, burn it. The judge said, no, the deal does not bind the court to keep that document, which is now part of a court file, does not bind the court to keep it secret. And other news organisations are demanding that the court now release it. And ABC journalist Louise Milligan, who seems now to speak for the ABC, says, we look forward to this being released. What will happen?
I think it should be released. We've got to actually stick with open justice here in Australia. It's too easy to pay it lip service, and time again, I'm in court fighting these sorts of suppression orders, and you hear judges start by saying, "Oh, look, I'm a big advocate for free speech," and you pause, you know what's coming next, and there's a big but. And I just hope that that's not what happens in this case. Now, Christian Porter started this case. People might have sympathy for his situation, why he started it. They might be total believers in him, but ultimately he started this case. And I don't think it's right that someone can start a case and then say, oh, look, actually, I don't like where it's heading. I'm going to just actually keep it all secret, or keep the stuff I don't like secret. That just isn't the way the game should be played. We've got to have openness in our court system, and I think that goes to what I thought really from the word go. That this was a bit of a tactic. Putting politics aside, I thought this was a tactical error by Christian Porter to issue proceedings, and perhaps this settlement was a tactical error as well, because if he hadn't have settled, he might have been able to potentially knock out part of the defence, and then it might not have seen the light of day. But settling with the ABC does not. That's the worst reason to keep something confidential and out of the public domain. Just keep in mind, this person was the Attorney General of this country. He's accused of a serious allegation. And I think the public have got a right to know what was put in the case that he brought.
That is really interesting insights, Justin Quill. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thanks, Andrew.